This week, chips are in short supply, Twitch is reducing the bots, and Google is pushing away the rest of the web. This is episode 592 of F5 Live, Refreshing Technology, for Sunday, April 18th, 2021, a proud part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Wherever you are and however you're accessing our show, whether it be on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat, through one of the podcatchers like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, TuneIn, or a myriad of other options, through our live stream platforms, livestream.com, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, or the newly rebranded Twitter live stream, or of course on our website, PLUGHITZlive.com. Thank you for making us a part of your day. There are two ways that you can do that. The first is you can join us Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern by going to f5live.tv/join us. There you can chat with us in the studio. Give us your feedback on the topics as we talk about them. We'd love to get your feedback, but if you're not able to join us live, that's okay as well. You can always go to PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows, including F5 Live, The Piltch Point, PLUGHITZ Live Presents, and a whole lot more. And of course, you can find all the ways to watch, listen, and follow along. All right, Avram, it has been a couple of weeks. We've each had our things, and it's good to be back.
Yeah, it is. It is really good to be back. Lots of stuff underway here. Not a lot completed. Spending a lot of time trying to make different things work that don't quite work yet. Like my son and I were working on this thing, which is supposed to be creating our own Bluetooth wireless controller. But it turns out that the wireless chip on it can do Bluetooth, but the firmware is not the state yet where it can actually pair. So that kind of limits the usefulness.
Sure.
So that's one half thing. Then we have our partially finished robot here.
Okay.
Our partially finished purple robot, which I just got a bunch of battery boxes for. We'll see what fits. Here's an 8 battery box. And then I have a 6.
Boy, I recognize those things.
We're getting. How would you strap them down? Like, I'm trying to figure out the best way to mount it to this. Some folks online suggest I get some kind of Velcro or something.
Yeah, we used to use a lot of either hook and loop or the super lock stuff, depending on what it was being used for.
Because I can't tape it because there's batteries on both sides unless I'm putting it
upright,
like vertical, which is weird. So
unless you work it into the design somehow.
So the goal is to get. I have coming in the mail one of the very few Raspberry Pi add-on boards that will actually take input from a battery pack like this and use it to distribute to both motors and the Pi. Because a lot of times the recommendation is that you get 2 different batteries. Right. One for the Pi and one for the motors, and that is just too much. Yeah. So for me, so I ordered this special board called the Thunderboard from Thunderboard from the UK, and coming any day, and we will try that. We will try that to make it work. And then today we were trying to. Do I have it in here? I don't think so. We were trying to get a really tiny OLED screen to work with our Pico, and we got it to work. But we want to actually use it to play games or make games. So we want to try and figure out how we can make like a Breakout style game, like the old Atari Breakout.
Sure.
Someone we know has made a Pong for it.
Okay.
And we want to see if we can make a breakout. So a lot going on. And then something of interest to our audience, I just got in the mail from Alienware a slightly modified version of the Alienware M17. And the difference in it is that it is using Alienware's first ever laptop mechanical keyboard. So it has Cherry MX style, special Cherry MX style switches that were just developed for laptops. It's not this. Okay. I think is the first laptop to ever use them. So I have to try that. I mean, they say that it feels like a clicky switch. So we'll have to be the judge of that.
Sure.
It's the same exact laptop in every other way. Just new keyboard.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that. Because laptop keyboards generally are, even on a laptop that we absolutely love, a keyboard can be a killer. So that's a pretty exciting development.
I mean, you can't beat a mechanical keyboard, right? But this is done with the kind of switch that it uses is very unique. So it's not clear to me whether it's going to have the true mechanical feel. I'll have to try that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we have seen mechanical keyboards on gaming laptops before. Mm-hmm. Some very, very, very large and expensive ones, like from MSI and Gigabyte, have had mechanical keyboards on them, and the keyboard experience has been good. Whether you want a laptop that's this thick,
right.
I mean, if it weighs 8 pounds anyway, I guess it doesn't matter. Like, who cares I do think, and I've always thought that people are a little too obsessed with how thick or thin their laptop is. You should really care about how much it weighs. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I mean, the thinness is just a gimmick. Like, nobody's putting their laptop in like a paper envelope.
Right.
Wherever you're carrying it, whatever bag you have, I promise you, any laptop will pretty much, any thickness that will fit. It's the screen size and the weight that you should care about.
Well,
but anyway,
for our people in the chat room, because I see some people already starting to say hi. So hi. Have you ever made a buying decision on a laptop based on the keyboard? Because we know Avram has.
Every time, as you should, because look, I mean, if you're using for some people, a laptop is like a mini desktop. They're just going to put on their desk. They're going to connect an external keyboard to it. I get it. That's fine. But if you are going to actually use this as a laptop, like with the keyboard it comes with, then by all means, you should make sure that that's one of the most important things.
Agreed.
You're touching that thing all the time.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, for sure. So let us know in the chat if a keyboard has ever been the decision maker for you, as it has absolutely been for Avram many times. Well documented one time.
Yes, well documented indeed.
In writing, in an episode of the Piltch Point, in at least one episode of the Piltch Point. That's what I meant. So on our side, we've been working to get ready for a big project next weekend. We will be off again next Sunday, but if you are watching us on Twitch, which is where I see chat already happening, if you're watching us on Twitch, we will have content next Sunday, because we will be, as Twitch calls it, hosting the Melissa Rivers red carpet coverage of the Emmys, because we will be producing it with her. So we're very excited about that. Definitely join us for it. It has been a ton of fun getting ready for this. She is every bit as funny in a normal conversation as she is on TV, which makes it wonderful to work with her. So definitely check that out next Sunday before the Emmys. We're real excited for that. But for tonight, since since we're back and then going to be taking one more break before things get a little normal again, let's get down to some news. This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop, a tablet, desperately trying to get a new Xbox, purchase games, or a whole lot more, you can get that by going to the Microsoft Store. And of course, remember that current students, faculty, parents, and active military can save up to 10% on almost everything. And to browse the products that are available and learn more about the discounts, go to f5live.tv/Microsoft. So we've talked over the last 6 months, 8 months, that there has been a fairly consistent shortage in new tech products, whether it be video cards or the Xbox, the PlayStation 5. The initial launches go poorly, the products disappear quickly, and then restocking has been a disaster. And part of what's happening there, obviously, is the scalpers, which we've talked about at length. But the reason why the actual restocking process has been a problem is because the production of semiconductors has been a huge bottleneck. A lot of companies that don't manufacture their own semiconductors and or chips work through for-hire foundries. One of them is the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, which is the least interesting name of all time, especially for a company that is the bottleneck in the world right now. They are running at over 100% capacity and falling behind on orders, which is obviously a huge problem. They cannot produce any faster, and they can't produce more facilities in any time span that matters, because to build a new facility can take several years, and to tool up a new production line can take months. And so TSMC is saying that they expect the chip shortage to run through at least 2023, which is crazy. But if you thought, as AMD uses them, if you thought you were going to get around it by going with Intel, nope. Intel is having the exact same problem internally, as are most of the other for-hire foundries. Possibly, in response to having been shut down for part of last year at the beginning of the global lockdowns. But whatever the reason, this is affecting everything from your ability to get a new Xbox through GM's ability to manufacture new cars. They actually had to put 2 of their plants on idle because they can't get enough chips to actually build cars, which is, this is a bonkers situation, right, Avram?
Yes, this is a disaster, and it keeps getting worse, right?
Yeah.
Because you have a storm of, you have other things that could be affecting production as well. For example, water shortages in Taiwan. Now, granted, the Taiwanese government has done a lot to sort of prioritize the chip manufacturers, but there are water shortages there because they're going through a drought, and you need a lot of water to make chips. So that's an issue. Obviously, any political instability, as occasionally comes up between China and Taiwan, that could lead to disruption. I mean, if there was,
and that stuff's not getting better right now.
No, it's not. Granted, the threat of military conflict has been between Taiwan and China has been going on for like 70 years. So I think most people in Taiwan take the view that nothing's going to happen, but and there's a lot of trading back and forth between China and Taiwan.
Sure.
I mean, China would not want to destroy the infrastructure of Taiwan either, but nevertheless, like if anything there happened, I mean the disruption to the supply chain would be tremendous.
Yeah.
So
because running at over 100% of capacity, they're falling behind. If they were to become a real choke point and have to shut down for any length of time, the problem would get exponentially
There was a power
worse.
outage I think there was a power outage this week at a plant for like an hour or something, and like that seems like not much, but it can be a big deal. So so you take all those factors and then you throw on top of it the reasons why demand is surging, and you got problems.
Yeah.
Like obviously there were reasons last year why demand was surging, which was people were at home and they're like, hey, now's my time to buy a new computer, or build a new computer,
or even
mining,
or even buy a webcam. Right. Because there's silicon in webcams.
So supplies have gotten a lot better around things like webcams right now, but supplies of CPUs and graphics cards are just killer. Right? Like it's just really, really difficult situation, which we'll talk about how to navigate that a little bit more later in my segment. But it's really bad, and everything. It's a vicious circle, because if people aren't buying CPUs, then they're not buying motherboards. If they're not if they can't get a graphics card, they're not going to build a PC. They're not going to get whatever. So it's actually surprising to hear that I believe first quarter was actually still a good quarter for PC sales. People want them, right? But it's hard to get them. Now, here's a piece of news that is just adds to this pile of misfortune.
Oh, good.
Which is that there is a new cryptocurrency coming out in China called Chia. And this new Chia cryptocurrency, apparently, unlike other crypto mining, requires a lot of storage space. So what do you think might happen? The one area where we haven't seen great shortages is storage, SSDs and hard drives. But that could change. There could be a run on storage.
Oh, good. The one thing that we've kind of been able to count on.
Yes. So, I mean, I guess if you want to buy a computer case, you don't have too many problems. I mean, that's just metal and glass, right? I mean, should
unless, of course, it's got illumination in it, which may require some sort of silicon to control.
Yes. So, I mean, this definitely points to that there need to be, and there's been, I think, some discussion actually about, at least in the U.S. government investing in giving money to companies to build fabs here. Now, that still won't solve the problem for years, right? But it's a national security problem for countries like the United States, because if you need chips to, for your military hardware, and you can't get them because you're dependent on these fabs, on these other companies that are, that could be running shortages, or, due to global conditions could get shut off.
Yeah.
So it is, you really, I mean, it also just points to that we live in an interconnected world, right? what happens in one country affects other countries.
Sure.
So maybe we should all be nice to each other because we're depending on each other for our CPUs, and other stuff.
There are definitely two extreme reactions to that reality. Either try and prop up problems elsewhere, or build our own internal infrastructure. Both are complicated.
Yeah. This is a piece of the supply. This is obviously probably the most important piece of the supply chain. But what about the metals that you need?
Yep.
That you need for the manufacturing process. So there's just a lot of links in the chain that can break. What's been kind of broken last year and now going into, Intel has had supply problems for a while. But what's been kind of broken going into this coming in right now is just all the things that are going on with both ability to manufacture fast enough and just incredible surge in demand.
Yeah.
Now, I have mixed feelings about the surge in demand, because as someone who runs a site about PC hardware, I love it that people want more.
Sure.
But on the other hand, if people can't get it, it leads to frustration and people going away from it. So that's really not good. We need to have more. Need to do whatever we can to get more capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like the solution is the building of another plant, which the company has already started, but they expect that process to take a couple of years, including tooling up new production lines. So none of this. I guess the takeaway is, if you were hoping to get an Xbox One or an Xbox Series or a PlayStation 5, it's gonna be a rough one for you. So, if there's a piece of hardware that you're absolutely looking for, the good news is that there can be ways to find those, and we will talk about that in just a second. This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by Purevpn. The best way to protect your privacy online is with Purevpn. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all of your devices. And right now, you can get a special price and a 31-day money-back guarantee, all by going to piltchpoint.live/PureVPN. All right, so we were just talking about supply chain problems on F5 Live, and now Avram, you and your team are working on getting us some information on how we can find some of those in-demand products, right?
Yes. So, where there's a will, there's a way. If you are looking for, while there are definitely supply issues, there are ways to get your hands on either one of the desirable graphics cards, one of the desirable CPUs, or a computer that has those components within it. So, obviously, if you look around on the internet right now, it is very tough to find a couple of different kinds of things. One, any graphics card of any kind is very hard to get right now. Even old ones, even low-end ones are selling out like crazy, and the prices are jacked up like crazy. I mean, it's out of control, right? What the prices are. I mean, you might spend $400 for a last generation graphics card that should cost $150 if you can find it. So what can you do? So first of all, the easiest thing to do if you are not upgrading an existing PC or building one, is to look for a pre-built computer. There is stock of pre-built computers, and you can get them. So, looking right now at Alienware, for example, Alienware's laptops, you can order an M15 that has RTX 3060, 3070, or 3080 graphics, and you can get it within 2 weeks. So, you can get it.
And you don't have to fight anybody for it.
Similar story for desktops. You can get desktops that you can get your hands on desktops with. I mean, it may take you a couple of weeks of wait, but not horrible. Looking here, for example, I'm looking at their desktop selection for Alienware. They say that you can get, well, it is about a month wait time. That's not great, but you will eventually get it. I see here that you can get, for $1,900, you can get a Core i7 11700F with a 3060 graphics card for $1,891. That's not a great price, but that's that's an okay price for right now. It's not a great price if you were going by MSRPs of the components, but it is. But you can get, because OEMs like Alienware have their own supply that they're getting of the graphics cards, and some are reserved for them. So you do have a decent chance of getting your hands on a machine that has those in them if you go for a pre-built computer. Another thing to keep in mind in the CPU space is that if you want to, believe it or not, we were talking on an earlier segment about Intel having supply issues, but Intel is in much better shape than AMD, because you can get, at reasonable prices, Intel's new Rocket Lake 11th gen core CPUs. I'm looking at Amazon right now, and you can get the new Core i5 11400, which we love at Tom's Hardware, for $186. That is a 6-core, highly overclockable chip. I think you can overclock the 11400. That is a 6-core chip that uses only 65 watts. You can get the 11700 for $339. So you can get your hands on Intel's Rocket Lake chips. The ones that are hard to get, but you can still find them if you keep your eye out, are the AMD Ryzen 5000 series CPUs, which are in more demand because, frankly, they're a little bit better. And those have been, even though those have been out for like 6 months, those are going in and out of stock frequently, although you can find them if you keep checking Amazon. So what can you do if you're in the market for a graphics card or one of those AMD chips that is hard to come by? There's a few things. One, you can use Newegg's product shuffle. Now, this sounds at first blush kind of bad. Like, why should I have to be in a lottery for the right to buy something? But periodically, and they don't give a lot of advance notice, we have been writing articles about it at Tom's Hardware. Newegg every day or two has something at /newegg.com/product-shuffle, and for an hour and a half you can enter. There's no cost to enter. You can enter your name in a drawing for the right to purchase something like a new graphics card, and if you have won the ability to buy it, you'll get an email about, I think, 2 or 3 hours later, and then you'll have like a 3-hour window in which you can buy. at the price they said. So, and the prices they said are probably a bit above MSRP, but are not like eBay prices. Now, everything is available on eBay. If you want a graphics card and you have unlimited funds, then yes, you can buy it on eBay. We maintain, we update weekly something called the GPU price index at Tom's Hardware, and where we track what things are selling for on eBay, which tells you what the market is like, but that is not what you would want to pay. So keep that in mind. Now, one thing that's interesting is crypto mining is driving a lot of this demand. So cards like a NVIDIA 3060 are actually in more demand than like a 3070 because there's no difference in crypto mining performance for some between the middle tier and the slightly higher tier. So anyway, so you can use a Newegg Shuffle. You can go to eBay, but what is another way you can do this? There are sites out there that will actually send you alerts, and one that I have up here is called hotstock.io. That is hotstock.io. And if I can, I'm going to share my screen for a sec, and you can actually see what hotstock.io actually looks like. So let's do that. Okay. So here's Hotstock. Can you see my screen now?
Absolutely.
Okay. So here's Hotstock, right? And there are other companies that do this. But this one seems to be as good as any other. So you can go here and you can say like, hey, PlayStation 5, alert me. And you can have it send you push notifications, or you can have it send you email. You've signed up for an account. And this is really important. If you use it, you want to set a maximum price, because you do not want to get what they don't seem to have is the ability to exclude eBay. And if you get eBay alerts, obviously you'll get eBay alerts all day long, because eBay somebody's always selling everything on eBay, right? But at prices you don't want to pay. So this is where you'll want to set a maximum price, which will kind of get you out of, avoid getting eBay alerts. You can see here is PlayStation 5. Now, one problem that this site doesn't solve, and I haven't seen anybody solve, is how do I if I want an RTX 3060, how do I get an alert for that? The problem with that is there's not one RTX 3060, but I don't see that show here, but like dozens of them.
Yeah.
Right? Every brand has their own RTX 3060. So if you're really studious, you probably go through and you'll want to put in different model numbers, because you probably don't care whether, there's minor differences, but you probably don't care that much right now whether yours is the Zotac or the EVGA or the MSI model. You just want a 3060, or you just want a 3080 at this point, right? Most people are probably not overly concerned with which model it is, but they haven't set up something. Just like if I look on eBay and on Newegg here, you'll see just how many things have. Now see, when I do a search, the first thing that comes up, systems that have the graphics card in them, right?
Because they're available.
So again, because they're available. Now, if I go here for desktop graphics cards, what can I get? Oh, I can get a 3060. Look at that. It says it's in stock for only $1,400 for a card that's supposed to be $400. And look at this little telltale thing that the price is even worse than it looks, because whatever vendor it is has decided to tack on a $200 shipping fee.
Oof.
That's I find that really, a little on the sleazy side. Like they try to make you think that it's a little bit cheaper than another one or something, but then they charge you. This is not Newegg actually themselves doing it. It's probably a third party vendor, via like Annie's Bear or whatever, whoever that is. Um, but yeah, if you look through the desktop graphics cards, it's like, look here, a 1050 Ti. This is like 2 generations ago or something, 1 or 2 generations ago. Graphics card should be selling for $150 tops, $373. Here's a last generation 2060 card, should be selling for like $300 at the most, $963. A used one is $899. It's madness. It's absolutely madness right now with graphics cards. Here's a 1030. It's pretty much no better. It's hardly better than integrated graphics. If you are building a PC and you still want to build a PC, and I can't blame you, I love to build a PC. Another possibility is to use integrated graphics. Get an AMD Radeon an AMD Ryzen chip that has built-in integrated graphics. Those are better than the Intel integrated graphics, although the new Rocket Lake integrated graphics are not bad. And if you are not particular about you're really building for productivity, not for gaming, or very light gaming, then integrated graphics will do. And then you can eventually buy a graphics card later when hopefully someday things calm down. But the situation is obviously really bad right now. We don't know exactly what's going to make it better. I will tell you one thing is that it looks like NVIDIA may be doing more to try to stop people from crypto mining on their gaming cards. They had made some kind of attempt with their driver software to stop people from crypto mining, and then people just found ways to disable that. But I read a rumor today that
in fairness,
they may
they did accidentally release a development driver that disabled it, and that was kind of the end of...
Yes. They did a lot to mess it up.
Yeah, they did it to themselves a little bit.
You can also argue whether or not a company should stop you from using something for a particular purpose, and in principle, I don't like that. But
it's certainly the anti-Apple argument.
But this situation is getting to be, a really bad situation for people who are not miners. You have large companies, you have companies as opposed to individuals, just buying up, setting up farms of these farms, buying tons and tons and tons of graphics cards, willing to overpay for them because of because they can mine things like Ethereum with it.
The return.
And so it's shutting out the rest of the market. And that's good for the miners, and that's temporarily good for the graphics card vendors. But in the long run, it's terrible because you're making people lose interest in PC gaming when you do this.
Yeah.
So over the long haul, making people lose interest in PC gaming is not in NVIDIA's interest. It is not in AMD's interest. It is going. If people cannot get the hardware to play the games they want to play, it's going to stunt an entire market. So that, and believe me, crypto mine. First of all, NVIDIA is already working on dedicated crypto cards. There's absolutely better ways to. I'm sure somebody could come out with optimized hardware. As now Bitcoin is all mined on ASICs. systems that are designed just to mine Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really like. I can't see this interest in mining with a PC lasting forever, and there's a very good chance that at some point some of these currencies crash. Like, I mean, I'm no market expert, so please don't take my word for it. But time and again, we've seen interest in crypto mining wax and wane, and right now it's at a peak. But I almost guarantee there's going to be a valley, and then you're going to have a whole lot of people who lost interest in PC gaming who may not come back to it when the supply gets better.
It's true. Well, obviously it's a big problem. It's affecting video cards and gaming consoles really hard right now. But we know that we talked in the last segment. We talked about how it's even affecting General Motors and their ability to make cars. It's really a lose-lose situation all around. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's a whole industry that has been on an upswing, right? In PC gaming, but it could all fall apart if people can't.
I mean,
stay in it.
I mean, they've made it very hard for people to stay in it, and it's really bad. So I understand why, I understand both sides. I understand people who got some extra hardware and they want to do a little mining, and I understand why people have started businesses with mining. But I also very much understand why a lot of gamers are really angry at the miners, because they're kind of ruining it for everybody else. Yep. So it's a bad situation. I think if the market for crypto calms down, then I think or people start inventing, although I don't think with chip shortages this is going to happen, more dedicated hardware like they did for Bitcoin. Because right now I think the main thing people are mining a lot is Ethereum
and Monero, because that's gone through the roof recently too.
Yeah, so I don't know. I hope it gets better. We all hope it gets better. But until then, I encourage folks. We have some articles about this on tomshardware.com. We have specific stock, our own stories about where to find stock of some of the important CPUs and GPUs, and when we find stuff, we tweet it out. So follow us on Twitter, and hopefully things will get better soon.
Yeah, for sure, for so many reasons. Well, Avram, as always, I appreciate you bringing this, because I was completely unaware of this hot stock idea. It is a fascinating idea, and I'm going to be playing around with it after the show. So,
yep.
So thanks for that, and as always, I look forward to what we talk about next. This week's Extra Life on F5 Live is proudly powered by Loot Crate. Whether you're a gamer, an anime fan, or a pop culture aficionado, Loot Crate has got a crate for you. They curate a bundle of collectibles, apparel, figures, and more that you can't find anywhere else. And crates get delivered directly to your door. It's like an awesome birthday present from a friend every month. And to learn more about what crates that are available, you can go to f5live.tv/Loot Crate. So we know that gaming hardware has been decreasing in availability, but it turns out that Twitch followers are decreasing as well. This week, Twitch announced that they had discovered and closed the accounts of over 7.5 million bots. Now, we have all experienced this. If we've spent any time on Twitch, you're watching a channel or a channel goes live. Somebody enters the room, spits out a weird message in characters that look like normal letters but are not, offering you vitamins or whatever weird additional things, and then boop, they're out. Those are among this group, but in addition to chatbots, and by chatbots I don't mean bots that are designed for moderating chat, but bots that go in and fake chat. In addition to those, they have also gotten rid of accounts that are creating fake views that will go in and open a number of tabs, pretend to be watching the stream, but without a person behind it. So Twitch has implemented this policy, obviously in a big way. 7.5 million accounts gone is a big thing. So what does this mean for streamers? The most obvious is that you are going to, if you have a big number of followers, that number has decreased this week. For sure, that number has decreased. Even we who don't have a huge following on Twitch, most of our communities over on YouTube, but even we saw a decrease in our Twitch follower count because of this. Over time, you'll also see a difference maybe in the number of active views you're getting when you go live. But I don't know about you, Avram, but for me, I much prefer a statistic be accurate and relay reality as opposed to just trying to puff up my ego. I'd rather have a smaller number if it means they're all real people who are engaging in our stream.
Well, listen, I mean, I would hate to think that the phenomenal growth that we've seen on the Tom's Hardware Twitch, where we went from 1 to 20 followers in the last 2 months, has all been bots. I mean, what if I want bots as my followers? Should I like do something that appeals to them? Like, is there a particular type of stream that bots particularly enjoy watching?
Or a particular type of noises that you could play that would make them perform better?
I mean, it's yeah. I mean, obviously, you want the real thing. I'm sure this is a problem that happens all the time on other platforms too. I mean, there's a certain amount of bots that are on people's Twitter, right? That follow some people on Twitter. There's bots. I mean, everywhere.
When you sign up for access to the Twitter API, that's one of the options of reasons why you're signing up for the API is creating a bot.
Right. So, I mean, maybe we're looking at this all wrong. Maybe the thing is we should be looking for trying to come up with more artificially intelligent bots. And then if those bots actually have spending power, then, we give each of the bots a little money and that they can just, spend, and, advertisers will like
Sure.
will like having accounts that are followed by bots because your bots will, your bots are customers.
Yeah. They're driving revenue.
Yes. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, if you thought you had more followers and you lost a bunch, that is sad. But on the other hand, I think you can't blame Twitch.
No, of course not.
You can't blame Twitch. You can't blame Twitter. You can't blame any platform that is doing this. In fact, when you think about it, it's truth in advertising, right? Because advertisers pay sometimes to, hey, I want to be on these streams that have X amount of followers, or I want to sponsor. Now, this could end up being bad for certain individual streamers because if they're going out and they're getting sponsorships and partnerships and things like that with various companies, and then the companies look at it and say, hey, wait a second, this person's not as big as I thought they were.
Yeah.
That could be bad.
We saw it happen on YouTube a year and a half ago. They did a big bot purge, and we saw people who had been partners lose partner status because too many of their subscribers were bots and things like that. So yeah, it definitely has an impact, and it could here too, right? Because if I understand correctly, Twitch, just like YouTube, reevaluates partner status on some sort of a schedule, 6 month, 12 month, something like that. I know YouTube's is on a 12 month because that's where we put our energies. But if you fall out of those stats, you may lose partner status, which might mean losing the ability for Twitch to sell ads and share revenue with you and all kinds of things like that. So hopefully they are prepared for that, because there could be backlash. But for you and I, who aren't necessarily statistics, like follower junkies, where that like that's not, for some people it's an ego stat, and for some people meh. And for me it's meh. So long as people are engaging, I don't care how many people are subscribed. So it wouldn't bother me, because we're on YouTube, we're well past the partner state, so they'd have to really knock us down.
I do care how many followers, because that is also something. It's something that we use internally. Like, look, our number of followers is going up. We must be doing something.
Sure.
It's a metric. Company.
It's a metric that can provide insight into your behaviors and whether or not you're resonating with your audience. But video engagement is another great way of doing that. As our longtime viewers know, we spend a lot of time on Monster Illuminescence stuff, right? Not because that drove subscriber growth, but because it drove views and comments and things like that. And so, for me, those stats are what they're even what I give to advertisers and stuff, because we have a lot of people who aren't subscribers who view and comment and come back and things like that, even without subscribing. Though I do wish people would subscribe. It's an easier number to sell on.
Yep.
But it's not like I've got a stats screen up in the office, and YouTube subscriber numbers is not one of the things I'm looking at. It's views and comments are my big numbers. So, but yeah, there's a lot of impact that it can have, and hopefully this will not have a huge negative impact on a lot of people. But again, I would much rather have an accurate view of reality as opposed to a bunch of bots. So. This week's news from the tubes and F5 Live is proudly powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop, and Malwarebytes Premium actively blocks threats like worms, rogues, dialers, Trojan, rootkits, and a whole lot more. And you can use your computer and mobile devices with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more about the product and to get a special price, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. For our regular listeners, you're noticing some new names in our in our show tonight, which is something I'm pretty excited about. Anyway, so it was a couple months ago, I think, we talked about Google's transition away from third-party tracking cookies and their plan for the future, their privacy sandbox, and the product or service which they hadn't quite named in any useful way yet, which is called the Federated Learning of Cohorts, which is their description for what we talked about back then, which is they're no longer going to provide information to advertisers based on individuals or allowed to target on individual things, but more on groups, right? People who are interested in computer hardware, right? So somebody who spent a lot of time on PLUGHITZ Live and Tom's Hardware and Laptop Mag, right? All those sites, they would obviously have an interest in computers and technology. And so that would be a cohort. But while Google claims that Flock, which is the weird abbreviation for this that they're using, while they claim that it's privacy focused, a lot of privacy advocates, organizations and companies who have been known for putting privacy products and blocks in place in the past are saying it might go the other way. In fact, one company that we've talked about a number of times, DuckDuckGo, as well as browsers Brave and Vivaldi, have all said that from what they understand of the technology, the tracking is actually more focused and holding more information, because to be able to create those cohorts, they need to report more information. That was interesting. To go along with our weird night of technology, I just got somebody plugged something into your computer noise. So
It wasn't me.
is it just one of those nights?
It wasn't me.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, so Brave and Vivaldi have said that they will not implement the technology. Opera has said that they are likely to not implement it, and DuckDuckGo is going to have it off by default in their mobile browser. And Microsoft has said that they are evaluating whether or not to implement it. Now, that would leave Google alone in the dark on this technology, which would, I mean, it would still make it useful for Google, right? But it would certainly limit its overall appeal, I would think.
I think we need to have some more kind of public education about about the risks and benefits of cookies, because
Agreed.
I don't really see the problem that we're trying to solve by getting rid of cookies. And obviously there's now, if you go to any site that is based in Europe, you get these GDPR warnings, like you got to agree that we're going to drop cookies on you. I don't get it. I've been involved with internet publishing since before there were cookies, and I don't understand exactly why people are so concerned about cookies giving them ads. First of all, you have lots of options in your own browser for disabling this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But second of all, what are they going to do with this information that is of detriment to me? What I see happening all the time is that I'm bombarded with ads for stuff that I've looked into buying. And sometimes it's stuff that I already bought, which is kind of funny, because my son, who's 9, probably thinks there should be more cookies, because we will be playing a mobile game, and the ads that you get in the game are for other games that we already have installed, right? So he's like, why doesn't it already look at your computer? Why doesn't the ad look at your computer and your phone and know that you already installed this other game that it's advertising to you, and not advertise it to you because you already have it? So why is it, And I said, well, privacy, privacy, they're not supposed to know what you have installed. So in his mind, it'd actually be better if they had more information about you so they could give you more targeted ads. For me, what I find is I'm constantly getting ads for stuff that I either looked into, already bought, or had to research for work or whatever. What?
My ads in like the second quarter of every year are always super interesting because they are almost exclusively for companies that were on our CES broadcast.
Yeah. but what's the harm? So I sometimes get ads for things that I've already bought, or ads for things that I don't really need to get ads for. I feel, I hope they don't pay much for this. I feel a little bad for Adafruit because I buy so much stuff from them that I keep getting ads for them, and it's like, but you don't need to advertise to me.
Yeah, because it's already working.
But it's already working, but I get it. But somehow because I've been there, I get ads all on social media and mobile games and things like that. But what is the harm?
The number of ads I get for LED lighting.
Yeah, but what is the harm? It's not hurting anyone.
Because you and I are obviously outliers, right? Because we have our own detrimental effect on the targeting of ads for us because of our jobs, right? I get LED lighting ads all day, every day because of all the luminescence stuff, right? So, we've done it to ourselves, but that's not a normal person problem, right? In general. Yeah, they may see some ads for things they've already purchased because they've been to the website and the website didn't entirely track that they made a purchase or whatever. There's better ways of dealing with it, but still, Yeah,
I just don't know who's being hurt. Yeah, I will, and I think there's some effectiveness. Like the other day, for example, my wife and I were talking about getting a new mattress, and I looked up Nectar, which is like a mattress that a lot of people buy online, right? And we haven't bought anything yet, but every place I go, I'm getting a Nectar ad, and I haven't clicked them, but they are reminding me that we need to get a new mattress. So, so it's not. I don't see the harm. I don't know. I have read up about this. I don't get, this is supposed to be somewhat anonymous information. Like they know there's a person who's looking for a mattress, but they don't necessarily know it's me. What Google is doing just seems like another way to do the same thing. So, but the cookie way is a way where the power is not in the hands of one company like Google.
Right.
The power is in the hands of individual ad networks and advertisers, right? So when you are putting into something like Flock, you're saying, yeah, we trust this big corporation to make these decisions rather than having a whole bunch of different places possibly do the cookie. So,
and it also requires this, right? That the browsers all buy into it and support this proprietary.
That's not. I don't see how that improves privacy. It's like, just trust us. Just trust us. We're keeping it private for you.
Yeah. Less people have tracking information. That's not necessarily better because, like you said, it puts everything on Google's shoulders, which is, for me, for sure, not a great place to be. But it's so weird.
I just don't get. I really think that we need to. I know obviously there's a lot of people who put a lot of effort into advocating for privacy, but I think some of the things that are going here, people are for privacy's sake. rather than like
Yeah.
what is the actual harm that's being done to them.
Right.
Like the harm is you're getting ads for things that you looked at, and there's ways of disabling it if you want to. So like I don't see the harm in this. I think we should actually be really just trying to educate people that cookies are not bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it seems like that particular conversation might unfortunately be too late, but there's got to be a conversation on a way to do this that isn't scary. It may just be, honestly, that the term, there's a great episode of Parks and Rec about this where everybody was scared of fluoride and they gave it a new name and everybody was excited about it. And
yeah, stop calling it cookies. It'll be something else.
exactly. Yeah. People are scared of cookies, but brownies will be fine. So, it's there. It may just be that somebody got people worked up about the word, and nobody knows why they're worked up about it. So I don't know. There's got to be something better. And if these organizations who are known for, I mean, they've all supported cookies in the past, and now they're saying, I don't know about this one. That's a sign that we're probably going the wrong direction. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I am waiting with bated breath to find out what Microsoft's decision on it is, because that right now Google's standing alone in the dark with Microsoft just outside in the light.
I can't imagine Microsoft supporting this.
I can't either. And I even said it in the article. I can't imagine Microsoft's going to go for this. So if they say no, that's almost the end of Flock, I think. So and there's no way Safari supports it. they're not.
But
they
Google
won't
is
even
powerful enough to.
They won't even go so far as to comment on it, because I think the whole world just knows, especially with all the iOS 14.5 stuff. There's no way Apple supports it.
Yeah, but Google is powerful enough that if only they are supporting it in Chrome, that would be meaningful.
They still have value to it, yeah. So we will see where this goes, probably in pretty short order. This week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live. It's proudly powered by Amazon Prime. You get free shipping, but you get a whole lot more. Free movies, TV, and documentaries with Amazon Prime Video. Free music with Amazon Prime Music. Free games and a free Twitch subscription, so you can financially support the content creator of your choice with Amazon Prime Gaming. And of course, a whole lot more. And you can learn more about these features and some of our other favorites. Get a 30-day free trial if you're not a current subscriber. Quick links so you can access all of these easily, or give Prime as a gift, all by going to f5live.tv/prime. All right, in 2018, Google began the big transition away from the Google Play Music streaming service and into the YouTube music streaming service. And a couple of months ago, they began a similar transition on Google Play movies and TV. I can never remember which way those words go. With the Google TV app, the new product, not the one that was discontinued in 2013. Gotta love reusing old names, right? With the Google TV app, it was pretty clear that purchases and streaming were going to be moving that direction, but that's not available for everybody. It's mostly intended for Android TV / Google TV powered smart televisions and devices. So what happens with services like Roku or Samsung, LG, that have a Google Movies and TV app on them? Oh, those are going away. In fact, they will be gone starting June 15th, 2021. And just like last time, they will be pushing that content into the YouTube brand. This time, there won't need to be a separate app. you'll see your purchases from the old Google Play Movies and TV service in your YouTube app and subscription just naturally. I suspect, with pretty good confidence, that while Roku, Samsung, LG, and Vizio are the ones who are mentioned by name, there's one platform that is conspicuously left out, and that's Apple. I suspect that the iOS and Apple TV apps will go this way as well, probably in pretty short order, especially since you can't make any purchases in the Google Play Movies and TV app on Apple devices because, of course, the 30% cut that goes to Apple, you can only buy online on the web and then play them in the app. So I suspect this will go the same way. It'll just move over to YouTube and move on. I don't know about you, Avram. I think it's interesting that Google is not that Google is getting rid of this other brand again, but more that they are continuing to focus and support digital media purchasing in the age of digital media streaming on the service that made digital media streaming a household name.
Well, okay. So here's the thing, right? I mean, we talked about this. We talked about a few weeks ago the story that I was doing on my son's the 9th anniversary. My son turned 9, and I put up that story. I finally put up that story that we had discussed about sort of following up on the predictions that I made 9 years ago about things going away. And one of the things that I predicted would go away was physical media, and Blu-rays. I mean, optical discs, Blu-rays, DVDs. And looking back on this, I realize now why, even though there's lots of reasons for physical media to go away, the just massive inconvenience of having physical media and having a physical media player, the reason why people will continue to buy Blu-rays is because then they really own it. Right. And we've talked about before, when the service that you're on goes out of business, or they somehow lose some license, and you can no longer watch what you paid for. Now, however, buying something for online is a much more secure, sure way of getting a movie that you really want and to watch again and again than counting on it to continue streaming.
Sure.
Right? Because things come and go from streaming all the time. Unless it is something that is owned by that streaming service. So
by the company that owns the streaming service.
Right. So I kind of count on, I'm going to count on Netflix to always have Stranger Things.
Right.
I'm going to count on Paramount Plus because they own, because Paramount makes Star Trek to always have Star Trek.
Right.
I'm going to count
it might not be exclusive because some of the Star Trek stuff is available elsewhere, but it is all available on Paramount Plus.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to count on it to be there, right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't count on it to be elsewhere. It might be for a while, but I wouldn't. So
sure.
And for people,
and you can't count on it to be in one place, right? About a year and a half ago, the Abrams movies, one's on Netflix and one's on Amazon Prime, and to find it, you had to bounce from service to service.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can't guarantee being on a streaming service.
Sure.
And you could argue to buy a Blu-ray for them because, hey, that seems really permanent. But but if you believe that, hey, Google is a fairly reliable company, these are going to exist for a while. then it makes some sense,
Right.
because you own this, and now you can watch it again and again if you like to watch things again and again. So so I can see the reason why somebody would buy something.
Sure. The good news is that even with this product change, and this isn't in our article, but even with this service change and name change and whatnot, both Play Movies and TV and YouTube are members of Movies Anywhere. So if you have made a purchase on Play Movies and TV, you still have access to it through the Movies Anywhere platform, which for me is an even better situation, right? Because even if Google decides to completely abandon a particular thing, and you've made a purchase on it, whoever else also has the rights for it will, in the Movies Anywhere thing, will still prop up that purchase. So that's a really great situation. You can purchase, if a particular movie is only available, maybe it's a Disney movie, right? And it's only, well, that's a bad example because they're not members. Let's go with something from Apple, or Amazon. Let's go with something with Amazon. Amazon does a documentary, and they make it available for not just Prime but purchase. That goes into your Movies Anywhere, and you can use that same platform for everything, which I think is pretty cool because kind of everybody falls into that Movies Anywhere except for Disney. But Prime Video, Google Play, YouTube, even Fandango, Microsoft Movies and TV, it's pretty much everybody. So that's encouraging.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I certainly would never count on streaming for. I would never count on a streaming service unless they are the maker of that IP to be reliable for it. And we were talking. We want to show some movies to our son, right, and want to show him some old Godzilla movies, and like HBO Max is like six out of like 27 Godzilla movies that have been, 30 something Godzilla movies have been made, maybe a little more than 6. Others are on other services or whatever. So, or on no service at all. So, I get it why people want to buy media. So I don't see a problem with this. YouTube
it's just interesting that it's going to be falling under the brand that made streaming video a household name. That's also going to be supporting.
Well, you'll be streaming them.
Yeah.
But you'll be streaming them.
But you'll also be
they're coming off the internet.
You'll also be purchasing them. It's an interesting place for them to land. But it definitely makes sense because Google's putting all their weight behind YouTube right now. So it definitely makes sense to go that way.
Yeah, I mean, why would you even want? I mean, it makes sense. That's their streaming brand. It's a very strong brand. That's their video brand. It's a very strong brand.
Yeah, and it is the household name. You know what I mean? So it makes sense for stuff to move that way. Expect the Apple stuff to go that way soon, though it's not in this announcement. And I would not be surprised if we see an even firmer transition from Google on this on Android in the future, though there is no talk about that now. Well, that is our show. Thank you to those of you who joined us live. We always appreciate our live listeners. If you didn't and would like to in the future, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, f5live.tv/join us. There you can watch live and chat with us in the studio as we go through the show. We enjoy hearing feedback on our topics. If you're not able to join us live, that's okay. PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along through your podcatcher, social media, YouTube, all of that. So we are on YouTube as well. And remember, we will not be on next week because we will be working with Melissa Rivers on her red carpet in sarcasm quotes, red carpet coverage, because there's no red carpet, because it's a weird event this year. For the Emmys, we're very excited about Oscars. I said Emmys? Oscars.
Yeah, I think it's the Oscars.
Yeah, it's the Oscars. I've typed it many, many times in the last week. So we will be hosting that on our Twitch channel as well as on hers, Melissa Rivers Official. If you find her on Twitch, give her a follow. It will make it all look better for us because, you know, follower numbers before you have content. Anyway, we look forward to that. And we also look forward to seeing everybody back, hopefully in 2 weeks like normal. And so, on behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Avram.
And we will see you guys back next time. Ciao. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.